All right, we're going to give this another try. December 8th. Oh, guys, it's funny. I just love these videos. I just love doing them. All right. I'm going to, let me see, I might call this more from the Great Swami Vivekananda, but I also might title it, Which Story Do You Prefer? And that was a line from the movie book, The Life of Pi. And it has to do with living life and dealing with obstacles and barriers. And it's a little bit different than my other ones in that there's just a few quotes, and I just think this is really important, powerful stuff, but it was for me. I don't know if it is for anybody else. So in a way, it's a little bit of the logical sequence of how this affected me. And maybe these will, you'll find them enjoyable too. So yeah, when I first discovered Vedanta Hinduism, the first book I read, or the first couple books, were by the Great Swami Vivekananda. Now up here, those are the two on the left. One's called the Bhagavad Gita, as seen by Vivekananda, and the other one was Meditation by Vivekananda. So I just want to illustrate that. Now, I started reading. I was very cautious about anything I read at the time. And this man, the way he speaks and what he writes is just so powerful. So if you Google him and just ask questions, Vivekananda on living life, Vivekananda on caring for others, it's amazing what you can find. So when I first started reading him, one of the first lines, and I couldn't find this or I'd give it to you, it was basically saying, you get more out of the challenges in life, more out of the difficulties, more out of the failures than you do out of the successes. And I remember thinking about that going, man, is that ever true? And I just more and more was taken by the great Swami Vivekananda. And this is going to be talking about that whole idea of dealing with obstacles. So let's get right to it. Some of the quotes. And you'll see how it's going to be beyond Vivekananda too. You'll see how it kind of works. All right. So there's just something about how he writes. I like it. Success is not a good teacher. Failure makes you humble. That's just another little take on this. Success is not a good teacher. Failure makes you humble. This quote highlights the lessons we learn from failures. Success can sometimes lead to arrogance, while failure teaches us humility and resilience. Both humility and resilience. And if you look at all the religions, humility is, in essence, if we don't have that, if we have ego and arrogance, we can't learn. So we have to get humility to open the door, but it also gives us resilience and strength. Failure does, that is. So each misstep is an opportunity to learn and grow. I think that's great. And my second take on this video, on the first one, I was reminded that a few years ago there was a term called helicopter parents. And it talked about, it basically was, basically said that parents were being called helicopter parents that weren't allowing their kids to have failures or have to deal with obstacles as they were being raised. And consequently, they didn't know how to deal with them in their future life. And I think it's really important to recognize that. We have to have a balance. Yes, love and care for your kids, but they need to have failures and obstacles to overcome. It's powerful and important. Another one, strength comes from struggle. Just so direct. This quote highlights the overcoming challenges, builds in our strengths and resilience. Each struggle shapes us and prepares us for future obstacles, allowing us to grow stronger. A couple other quotes from Swami. The world is the great gymnasium where we come to make ourselves strong. There's a lot of depth to this because he also talks about our purpose in life really is self-realization, that we're actually here to get stronger, to move forward. Now, of course, we have our moving forward in our life, and if we're householders, as it's called, living life, we got to have our business and we have to make money. We have to raise our family. But in the bigger picture, we also have the great gymnasium of life where we're learning self-realization, finding the divine within, as he calls it. Another quote, in a day when you do not come across any problems, you can be sure that you're traveling on the wrong path. I just think that's really kind of funny. If it's too easy, you're not getting something out of it in a way. Never mind failures, they're quite natural. They are the beauty of life, these failures. And I think when I look at these quotes, it's just a different spin on it all, a different viewpoint. Enjoy, just like in the last video I did on karma yoga, we don't want to get attached to success or failure, or be fear of failure, or attached to successes. We just focus. We let all of that go. We don't get attached to it and don't worry about it. We just focus and do the best we can. So kind of flipping it a little bit away from Swami Vivekananda, and this kind of connects up to our joy and happiness. Buddha, he has something, it's basically a tool in life, a saying, what I don't know what they would call it, but it's called the Four Immeasurables. And I did a video on it. It's so powerful. Just Google it yourself, the Four Immeasurables. And he talks about these four factors or characteristics that you want to develop and cultivate to find happiness. And the first one is the definition of love. And he says love in Buddhism is wanting others to be happy. Unbelievable. Cultivate that as opposed to just self. But I look at this on achievements because I know when I've meditated on that, it became so clear that cultivating that for me was wanting others to achieve their goals, both in life and in their spiritual path. So I even wrote down here, these are my words, meditate on others' achievements, joys, and happiness, or their overcoming obstacles in a positive way. And that will be cultivating as per the Four Immeasurables, and you will feel happier. I think that's something else. Another one from Hinduism is the definition of Leela, which is a video too, if you look back a few. And that's defined as divine play. It's like the fun of life. We are remembering who we are, divine and consciousness. For all, then, it's really just play in life. So let's not get all wrapped up in the obstacles or the failures, because then we're just spinning down into more solidity as opposed to finding out who we really are. So we don't want to blame. We don't want to look at problem people as our obstacles, because that just becomes being judgmental and critical. Do not blame or look at problem people as our obstacles. Don't look, or the obstacles as from some evil source, or even from our bad deeds or bad karma. Let's not blame karma. Sure, we have our those past causes that we did can come back and rebound on us. Absolutely. But does it do any good to blame? No. So no evil entity put those obstacles there in our life. Take responsibility for them and plow forward. In fact, if you take Swami Vivekananda and Google his name with how to take responsibility, you'll learn quite a bit. So I'm going to end it with this Life of Pi story. It's the book or the movie. And at the end, he has the line, which story do you prefer? And the movie, if you haven't seen it, is about overcoming incredible obstacles. Kind of the whole purpose of this video. Overcoming obstacles. And the main character, his name is Pi, is telling his story where he's lost at sea in a life raft. And he's all these obstacles that he has to overcome. And he has a few versions of that story to the insurance inspectors and investigators. And he also then is talking to the audience of his writing or of his story. And there's kind of like this disbelief on what really happened out there. And he's got multiple takes, multiple stories. And then he, with a beautiful smile, and he's a very religious man, he just says, which story do you prefer? Now, how does that align here? We can take obstacles and barriers and challenges as some sort of evil and get torn apart by it. Or do we prefer the story of, in a way, as Vivekananda said up here, Never mind the failures, they're quite natural. They're the beauty of life, these failures. I think that's pretty interesting, a pretty beautiful statement. So, how do you want to live? You know, I don't want to act like failures and obstacles are all joyful. Boy, they can be rough, and we've all had those in life. But I like remembering these quotes and these ideas and taking these things as challenges, or even when we're in the depth of despair, knowing that somehow, because all of it is short term, it's going to end and we can come out the other side. And I prefer looking at it as per all of these ideas. So find your path to self realization, find your path in work and in life and family, and move on forward. I think these are all very, very helpful.